ready for the mayhem?
Hosted by Mike, the Big Cheese.
Welcome back to the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show. It is Sunday, August 11th, halfway through the month of August already. I'll be back to school for the grandkids soon and time to decorate for Halloween. So I'm getting kind of excited. But yet, I love the summer. I love being out in my yard in the pool and enjoying the heat. So hopefully, we'll have an Indian summer. This will continue straight through September. Hey, we got a great show for everybody tonight. Chris Slade, former drummer of AC/DC, Asia, Uriah Heep. Too many bands to name. This is a pre-recorded interview. We did it earlier. It kind of sucks because there are so many things to talk about with Chris, and we had like a 45-minute slot to do it in, and like the first 10 to 12 minutes we could not get audio going. So by the time we did get the audio started up, I had to kind of compress everything in, and there was no way of getting all the questions in that quick of an amount of time. But I did the best I could for the time we had. We'll get Chris back on. Also, Deborah Levine from Lady Beast. We're going to be running a late show tonight because we had to push our time slot from 7:15 to 7:45. So we're probably going to wind up going to about 8:30 tonight. But stick around. It's going to be great. We got a lot of good music for everybody. Right there, Fate's Warning, Kiss of Death. I love that first record. I've been playing the hell out of it all week long. I mean, is there any way we can get that lineup back together? I mean, when you think about, Fates Warner today, it's only Jim Athos in the band from that original lineup. Everybody else is gone. So, I mean, I would love to see them, getting back together with that classic lineup, maybe doing the first two records. I know Jim doesn't care for this record. I think it's more about the recording than it is the songs themselves, because this was the demo tape that they came out with, and they just kind of made it an album. If anything, they should re-release and redo the album cover, because that cover looks like it was drawn by a fifth grader. But still a great record, one of my favorite. I mean, the first three records, The Spectre Within and Awaken the Guardian, after that, I don't know. I mean, they just started getting a little, more into that progressive mode, and it just wasn't them to me, and I just kind of fell out of love with those guys by the time No Exit came out. So I would love to see a lineup of that classic lineup, a reunion of it. You never say never. Maybe one of these festivals will make them an offer, get them back together, and it could happen. All right, let's get the music flowing here. Dead Engine, Renegade.
trapped in a dream. A glass cage around you, but now that I found you, I'll shatter it. That set you free. We're on the loose, and we can't stop time. No time to lose. I'm yours tonight in your world. Give it up for tonight. Don't even care if it's wrong and like die. Justice is gone too far. Left to say I'm blind inside. We're on the loose and we can't stop time. No time to lose. Oh, I'm yours tonight in your home. We're on the loose and we can't stop time. No time to lose. One lost tonight in your love. Now that's how I want to hear my Lizzie Borden. No Time to Lose from that first EP. I mean, he's like in this Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor phase right now. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, the new stuff is, to me personally, I think it's horrible. But he's such a great guy, Lizzie Borden. I've interviewed him quite a few times in person, and he's a sweetheart of a guy. He really is. But he plays like that whole Godfather thing. We interview him like he sits in the chair with the sunglasses on, with the lights out in the hotel room. Like you walk in and you don't know if you're going to like an interrogation with the FBI or you're about to be taken out by a hitman. But he's a fun guy to talk to. He really is. I just wish we get back to that classic metal music. Before that, I Am Britain with Mind Grind. Love those guys. Had him on the show quite a few times back in the early days. Had Ultra Dave on. I thought more was going to come out of it back then. He was talking about things were starting to pick up. They were going to start getting busy again. New music, doing shows. But I guess it kind of died in the vine and nothing did happen after that. All right. We're going to get to the Chris Slade interview in about 20 minutes or so. We're going to have some more music. We got a couple of requests tonight. Christian sent in a request for Attica. John wanted to hear Voivod. We're going to get those both on back to back. Paul Diano has a new record out. I guess it's some sort of compilation called The Book of the Beast. I never met any person that could like glom onto that early Iron Maiden thing and keep it going for 40-something years. I mean, he just doesn't let it go. And it's a shame because he has so many bands over there. And some of them are pretty good. Like, I like Battlezone. I thought Killers was pretty good. Then he had the Paul Diano band, Diano the band, and a whole bunch of bands named after like Iron Maiden songs like The Ides of March and Killers and stuff like that. He has so many other things that he's done over the years. I don't know if you heard his latest thing. It's Paul Diano's Warhorse. Personally, I think it's terrible. I mean, give it a shot, listen, you might like it. The production sounds like they did it on a tape recorder in somebody's room. Paul's got this thing about hooking up like these Eastern European bands where they just like his backup bands. He just kind of like does his vocals wherever he is and it kind of mixing them with the music and it never sounds right. And you could tell that it was kind of phoned in. So it is what it is, but that's just Paul Diano. I guess at least he could say he was on the first two Iron Maiden records, which to me are the best albums. I love them more than any of the rest of the albums. Dave Evans, the former AC/DC singer, he's been living on that for over 50 years, and all he made was a single with the band back in, I think, the late 60s, early 70s, when they really weren't the AC/DC that we all knew. And he goes out there, he plays doing an old AC/DC set all the time, and he had a couple of his own bands also. He doesn't even do that music. He does all AC/DC. He does Bon Scott, Brian Johnson, stuff that he wasn't even a part of. So I guess give Paul Diano credit where credit's due. At least he's playing, the stuff from the albums that he did with Iron Maiden. All right, let's get to our request. Like I said, Christian wanted to hear Attica. We'll play that first. Then we'll get to Voivod for John.
There's no turning back, for no one will hear my repent. Repent. Shots from behind me seek out my last breath. With each step I run from, another stays close on my path. Unseen behind me in the black of the night, I know they're still out there. I keep running, but only from sight. Will they catch me by light? Caught in a spiral with no end in sight. To run to the end or die if I fight. The sky has no balls, but still lots of freedom. For those on the run, their hearts are still trapped. Weakened from running, blood spills from my side. No time to stop now, it's time to lay down and die. To pray I shall die. Sleep for one moment, then wake from sleep strap. The sweat keeps me cold and in fear of the wrath. My body is torn from the blindness of night. My trail is my legacy that leads to my end. Is there life beyond here or nothing that I never miss? Now on the outside but the hunt never ends. That day they find me, there's no place to call home again, but only the pen. No place to turn to, I'm trapped here outside. When you can't see the coming, there's no place to hide. down the final line. Stood forever the street. Fall under his command. Fall under his command. Storming straight forward to knock down the pie. Satan is bleeding his rose. Out in the fury, the men have died.
All right, Overkill with Deny the Cross. I remember that record came out. I was a little let down. I felt like they were going more in an anthematic direction, a little more commercial sounding, if that's possible for Overkill, because a lot of songs never kind of catchy and anthemic. Plus, I had just signed, I believe, to Atlantic Records at that time, and I thought there was like a change in the air. But I look back on it now, and I was completely wrong. And it's not the first time that I was or will be. All right. Well, Jason Bittner just left Overkill. He's been with the band for about 7 or 8 years right now. I think he said in an interview that he wants to only be in bands that he's a part of or a founder of, because it comes with certain perks and benefits, and that he's very busy. With the Category 7 and Shadows Fall, and I just don't get it or see where he's. I mean, he is a busy guy. He does play in a lot of bands. He does do a lot of stuff. But when you mention those two bands as the bands you're busy with, Category 7 had a record that came out, I think, 2 weeks ago on July 27th. Has anybody bought it? Does anybody have the record? Yeah, it's a super group. It's got Phil Demmel, John Bush, Michael Lando. I think Jack Gibson is on in the band. There's a lot of people on that record, but does anybody actually own it? Is anybody playing it? I don't think so. Are they going to go out on tour? Maybe, he says, next year. All of those guys are wrapped up in their own other bands that are the priority before this band is. If they do go out on tour, it'll probably just a one-shot deal, and this band's going to be over and done with. That's my opinion. Shadows Fall. I mean, when's the last time they had a record out? 2012? 12, 13 years ago they had a record out. How busy can you be if the band hasn't put out a record out in a decade or plus? And I hardly ever seen them touring anyway. They do a couple of festivals or shows here and there. I don't know. I get you. If you're not a member of the band, like a founding member, because you do get a cut of the royalties, you do get a cut of a lot more of the money. But when you're a hired gun, you also get a steady paycheck. Whatever they agree upon, here's your fee. This is what you get. He knows every show he plays. He doesn't have to worry about selling records, laying out the money for things. He's just going to get a check cut to him every time he plays on a weekly basis. So there's a give and take to both of them, and I get it. Maybe in the 80s I could see wanting to be a founding member of a band or one of the guys that are going to get a big cut of the money, but it just doesn't exist anymore for any bands at any level unless you're an arena-sized band. So it is what it is. Okay, Chris Slade, man of many bands, man for man's Earth Band. We're going to talk about a lot of bands that aren't heavy metal, Tom Jones and other stuff, but it is what it is. And like I said earlier on in the beginning of the show, we couldn't get any audio for the first 10 or 12 minutes. So when we did get the audio up and running, we started the interview from there, but I was only allotted 40 minutes because that's all they give you on a Zoom call. So, we did about 30-something minutes on the interview. So we'll get that on now. We're going to be running late tonight because Deborah Levine can't call in at 7:15. We're going to talk to her about 7:45. It'll be a little shorter interview, but we're probably going to go close at 8:30 tonight. So a little AC/DC featuring Chris Slade on drums, and then we'll talk to him.
Did you record him before I'm on or something?
Oh, okay. I couldn't figure that one out. I don't really use this Zoom enough to understand it.
I've done quite a few.
Yeah.
And what happens is if you leave completely and then come back, it sort of fixes itself.
Got it. Okay. Well, now I know for the future. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I use telephones and comfortable wires on there.
Same here, mate. So I understand completely.
Well, listen, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. A fan of all the bands you've been in and been a part of and all the music you've created. It's hard to believe over 60 years of music. That's just incredible.
Yeah, I find it pretty incredible.
What a stellar career.
I always say I wanted to be a drummer all my life. I haven't succeeded yet, but I'm getting there.
Maybe one day. Maybe the next band will be the big one.
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, I always find it funny because everybody always associates you with AC/DC. And then I look back at all the bands you've been a part of and all the music you created. I'm like, that's just like a small blip on your radar musically. I mean, when you think of Manfred Mann and then Tom Jones and The Firm, I mean, playing with David Gilmour, I mean, and my sweetheart, Olivia Newton-John. I mean, AC/DC seems like so far off compared to everything else, but everybody brings it back to AC/DC feel.
Yeah, I know. It's strange. I've been playing for 60 years professionally, near enough. And it's like, it's very strange. It is very, very strange. Because I never thought I'd be alive at this age, None of us did we?
No, we thought it'd end a lot earlier, but I'm glad you are still here. But you got the whole timeline thing going over the last
maybe 15 years now, and I love it that you're sort of like putting everything you've done musically into this one band and giving everybody a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that was my idea when I started. I wanted to play my whole career. So I had to get a band that was capable of doing that, you know, not just capable, but wanted to do it. Because a lot of players go, oh, I'm a heavy player, man. I can't play that, What, Tom Jones? You got to be kidding me, But I've known these guys a long time, and I used to see them playing in pubs and clubs, and they were doing covers like Genesis and Kansas. So I knew they were more, and vocally as well, I knew they were more than capable of pulling this off.
Sure.
So it's, we do some of The Firm, we do some David Gilmour, um, all sorts mixed up. AC/DC, of course, is about half the set, and the rest is the other half of my career, I suppose.
True. I mean, do you take this all back maybe to Tom Jones? Was that the first like big break you had? Because Tom at that time was kind of just getting started himself. He really hadn't exploded yet onto the national scene.
No, he wasn't even called Tom Jones yet. He was Tommy Scott.
That's right.
Tommy Scott and the Senators. So, and believe it or not, they were quite a big band in South Wales as far as working men's clubs are concerned, steel workers and miners. So that was our audience and their families. And we were a rock and roll band. We did Little Richard and Jerry Lee and everything in between. And then Tom would throw in a ballad and not a dry eye in the house,
Yeah.
And they loved all that. They loved having the rock and roll and then having a ballad like I Believe or something thrown in. Because that's the sort of audience they were, They were working people, hard-working people, actually, and tough people. So they wanted some grit in that as well. So that's where rock and roll came in,
Yeah.
and everything in between. As I said, we used to do some contemporary stuff because people asked for it as a request. To me, it was and I was with Tom for 7 years. After about 2 years, he became Tom Jones and recorded It's Unusual, and we went from there, really. So in the beginning, we were making quite good money in the valleys of South Wales, the clubs, and we went to London to be big time and to be professional, and we starved.
The rock and roll lifestyle, you have to love it. You think you're going for something better and it winds up being worse.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. You're supposed to be professional. You're supposed to get paid, and you don't.
Yeah. That's what you're working for. People, like when kids get, they get into music, they want to learn an instrument. There's a certain genre of music that they're into. It could be jazz, it could be blues, it could be rock, it could be heavy metal, and that's what they want to play. And genres come and go. I mean, they'll have their lifespan, then they die out, and maybe years later they come back and they're in a revival. But if you want to be a professional musician, do you have to kind of put to the side like what your favorite type of music is and say, I'm going to play with anybody that I can play with?
Yeah, that's what I said right at the beginning to myself. And with Tom, of course, as I said, it was a great opportunity to play all sorts of stuff, from the Beatles to Ghost Riders in the Sky, by
Yeah.
Frankie Lane, and you had to be able to play ballads. So, you had to learn how to go ting, 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 ting. And luckily I started with jazz. So that came in really helpful when it came to being with Tom. And when he moved into cabaret, I could move with him because I'd started learning jazz right at the start when I was about 12, listening at least. So, that's where my diverse technique comes from. And that's probably why people haven't heard of me because, they only think of AC/DC. They don't think of the firm. They don't think of Manfred Mann's Earth Band because they weren't alive at that time. Some of
Yeah.
them. I did a gig on the weekend in Italy, actually, with Timeline. And I said, and then in 1960, you weren't alive, you lot.
For most of them, that's true. But you had Man for Man, like you had just mentioned. I think that band probably had most of the biggest hits that you've played on back in the day. I mean, Blinded by the Light is played every hour somewhere on every radio station in the world. I mean,
Yes, it is.
it's just incredible when you think about it. Man for Man to me was just an amazing composer and arranger. People talk about his keyboard playing, but I think overall he just really knew how to run everything.
Yep. He was mainly a producer and arranger, actually, more than anything. He wrote songs, of course, and I wrote the lyrics to him sometimes. And Mick Rogers, also the guitarist. Colin, the bass player, didn't write too much. So, it was Manfred that put that arrangement to Blinded by the Light with the clink, clink, clink piano. And we thought it was great. We didn't know it would do what it would do. But we thought we did a good job because we all put ideas in the arrangements and harmonies and stops and starts, things like that. But we didn't think of it anything else other than we did a good job there. And then it came out and it was pow. It was number one all around the world. And I think Mr. Springsteen had got the most out of it, actually.
Yeah. Being the writer of the song, absolutely. But
Yes.
he couldn't make it number one, but you guys did.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, he didn't need number one singles, did he?
No,
He
not at
had
all.
so many number one albums.
Yeah.
But Blinded by the Light is what kicked him off because Manfred took it and made a pop song out of it. And Bruce had done it as more of a laid back shuffle thing.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Manfred saw the worth in it. And he and I saw Bruce on stage, actually. I've never met him, and neither has Manfred. But we went to see him on stage, and he was fantastic, as you know he is. And the show was like 3 hours long. I know he's done like 5 hours shows, But I went back home to UK and told everybody that would listen about this guy called Springsteen, who was a tremendous writer and a tremendous performer. And, I just told everybody, DJs, anybody would listen, managers, anything. But, that's where it came from. We were given, Manfred and I were each given a copy of Greetings from Asbury Park, which when it first came out just disappeared. Nobody bought it.
Yeah.
Disappeared. And those were given to us by John Landau, actually, Springsteen's now manager.
Yeah.
He was a journalist at the time in New England. And it's amazing how that turned up for both of us, for Earth Band and for Springsteen. We got a hell of a lot out of that song. And Manfred did the arrangement.
True.
And as I said, I don't think Bruce likes it at all.
You probably didn't, but when you have that one hit song like that and it comes out and now the name of the band is all over the place, everybody knows who you guys are. I mean, does it change the way things work inside the band now? Do you feel like you have to kind of repeat that success over and over again with every song, or just say, hey, we got lucky with this one, it went to number one, and now we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully we'll strike gold again?
Yeah, we did some tours, especially in America, with that record, as the impetus for us getting gigs. We were doing okay before, but this put us like head and shoulders, We were on the bill like the Eagles, things like that, you know. You don't get that by being, sort of thought of as a second-rate sort of supporting act, you know.
True. Very true.
So we got a hell of a lot out of it, and so did Bruce. I saw Max Weinberg years later. He came to see the Firm actually, and we got talking. I said, "Hey Max, I thought you ought to know. I was the drummer, original drummer on Blinded by the Light." He said, "Wow." He said, "That's incredible," and that kept us going for years. Because of course you can imagine the royalties that came in to Bruce's account,
Sure. I'm sure they were
uh,
good.
and he put that into the band.
Yeah, that's how it
So
goes.
yeah,
Yeah. You mentioned the Firm, and I read an interview you did some years back where I think you were playing with David Gilmour at the time, or you were getting ready to go out on tour with David Gilmour, and Jimmy Page called you and said, we're going to start this band, which wound up being the Firm. And you were like, but I'm already committed to something, and they were willing to wait for you. So that's got to make you feel good when you're saying, Jimmy Page, Paul Rudd, these guys are going to wait for me. But did you say to yourself, when I get back, I got a feeling the job might not be there?
I couldn't believe it. Honestly, it was like there was a long silence, and it was, "Oh, that's okay. We'll wait." And it's like, I can't believe this. Take the phone away from my head, look at it, and put it back to my ear. And I just could not believe that. I thought honesty is the best policy. It's no good lying to Jimmy Page. Oh, he won't notice I'm not there for 3 months. But in the end, they waited for 10 months to a year. It was a 9-month Gilmore tour, 10 months maybe, the About Face tour. And, Pagey and Rogers waited all that time. So I've always been more than grateful for that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing. But did you
y-
say to yourself when you were out on tour playing that tour, saying, "I hope those guys are still waiting for me"? I hope they're still waiting for me. Because, I mean, would you think you would have passed up the Gilmore tour if they said to you, "No, no, we have to do this right now. This is a priority"? Would you have said to David Gilmore, "I know I committed, but I can't. I have this project that's going to take place"?
I never thought of it. Honestly, I never thought of it. I kept in touch with Pagey, of course, and saying, "Oh, we're in the States now, and it's been extended for another 3 months. Oh, well, never mind. Don't worry. We're in no rush." I remember him saying that. Um, so it was like magic.
Yeah.
Um, how that came together. And synchronicity has played a big part in my career, actually, being in the right place at the right time, possibly. Um, when I started with Tom, I was working in a shoe shop. I was 16,
Wow.
and they'd sacked their drummer the night before, and the one of the lady assistants in the shop said, "Oh, they got rid of their drummer last night. Um, you're a drummer, and why didn't you go for it?" I said, "No, they don't want me. They're in their 20s, and I'm 16." It's not. And then an hour later, the guitarist of the band comes in to buy shoes.
Wow.
And I went up to him and asked him, I told him that I was a drummer. I lived by Tom, which I did. I was about half a mile away from Tom. I knew who he was, but I'd never met him. My father knew him and my brother knew him. Because my father's a tap dancer and singer, Danny. Um, So that's where the rhythm comes from for a start. And also I was born by a railway track, more than one actually, about 3 or 4 or 6.
Yeah,
And, maybe it was the rhythm of the train going past all the time too. Yeah.
it could be.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, the firm too, Radioactive, another big hit, two great records. Did you think that was going to go on a lot longer than it did, or did you say to yourself, I got Paul and Jimmy Page in here. They're involved in a lot of other things, and other things happening to them. Maybe this might not last that long. Do you approach any project with that thing that, well, it's only temporary. It might be here a year or two, or this could be a long-term, thing. I mean, how do you approach it as a musician that's going from
No,
band to band?
I've never had that thought in my head. Like you said to me, would I have given up Gilmore? To me, I'd committed to the tour, so I was going to do it. I never ever thought of saying, "Hey, Dave, sorry, man, but in a month I've got to go," because Paige wants to play drums. I never actually thought of that. And as I say, I kept calling Jim, and he kept saying, don't worry, it's okay. Just let us know where you are and what you're doing." So, you couldn't want for better, could you?
No, you really couldn't. It's just been amazing when you think about all the stuff you've been a part of. And then the AC/DC gig comes around where, you're brought into a whole new generation of rock fans that are like, finding out who you are. And I think about it, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. I mean, in the music business, the business part of the music business, how have you seen things change over those decades? Was it still kind of the same? Because when you look back now, the big record labels are gone. People download their music. They want it for free. They don't have that dedication to buying stuff like they used to. When did you start seeing the music business start to change? Or has it changed every decade in some small way or another?
I think it's a gradual thing. And like every decade, it's like when albums went out the window, and videotapes came in, if you like. Maybe not in that order, but you know what I mean. And then DVDs, and then and Razor's Edge as an album has come out 3 times. I mean, number 1 3 times. First of all on video, second on DVD, and I can't think what the other one was, but there's another one that it came out, and it's number 1 every time it came out on a different genre. So, that adds to its impact as well, of course.
True.
Um, like Thunderstruck gets played, you said Blinded by the Light gets played. And it does, because I go to the States a lot now, and I hear it every day, at least 4 or 6 times,
True.
every day. If you change the dial, about 5 minutes later, Blinded by the Light comes on.
Yep.
And that's true. So it's, those 2 songs, Blinded and Thunderstruck, are like my anthems, if you like.
That's very true. I mean, AC/DC had already reached their peak of success when you joined the band. And when you step into a band like that who has a very specific sound, they don't vary from album to album. They know what the fans want and they give it to them. So now when you step into that band, do you try to say to yourself, I gotta kind of do like what Phil Rudd did or the drummer before him, or I'm gonna bring my own style into the band and make it work within the parameters of their music?
Well, all the drummers, actually, Phil included, and me, are copying Angus, because he plays drums on the demo. And he wants it like that.
Wow.
So it's Angus that's Angus or Malcolm, actually, before he went, of course, unfortunately. Because they both played drums, and that's what they wanted. And that's what they built the guitars off, to syncopate with the drums. So that's how they worked. So the riff they're working on wouldn't work the same if it was a different drum pattern. So nobody said that, by the way, but you just knew that they wanted the same drumming as on Angus's demos, Angus and Mal's demos. And so all Phil is doing is copying Angus. And all Simon Wright did was copy Angus. And that's true, you know. So people who say, oh, this guy's better than that guy, that's a load of crap, because
They're all
all
as
we
good as
were doing,
Angus. They're all as good
all
as
we-
Angus.
yes, it was Angus or Malcolm.
Yeah.
Um,
Does-
and
Do
he's
you ever
sadly missed, of course.
do you feel limited as a drummer when you're in a situation like that, or do you just say this is a job? You know, I'm having fun. I'm out there playing in front of huge audiences, and this is what I do.
Well, you know, those guys are not drummers. You know, they can play drums, doesn't mean you're a drummer.
True.
So, you know, you can put like cymbals in or something, and but you know, they want boom, ba boom, 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 da, boom, da, boom, da. You know,
Yeah.
that's the crux of it. So it's just a matter of trying to do that professionally, which is what a lot of drummers do, and make it sound professional, not like some amateur drummer. You know,
Yeah.
they're both great guitarists in their own way, but drummers, you know, they wouldn't keep their jobs as drummers. Put it that way.
Yeah. It's crazy. You know, Chris, we only have a few minutes left because we got started late
Okay.
with the audio, and we only give you 40 minutes in it. But I want to talk about Timescape, the new record. That's the most important thing. I mean,
Right.
some great songs on this album. I mean, I love what you did here. I mean, do you plan on taking this out on the road now?
Yes.
There you go.
We've been timeline. We've been working. We've never stopped working in 10 years. As I said, we were in Italy, like this weekend, just gone. And 3 months ago, we were in Poland and Chechnya and places like that. So, yes, we will do this on the road. Some of the songs, not all of them. We do some now anyway, because the second side, the second CD, if you like, is covers of AC/DC, of Asia, of I'm looking at it right now, of Uriah Heep, Man from Man's Earth Band. So it's like our set, actually. This album, it's just like our set, except we don't do them in blocks of, you know.
You mix everything together. You mix them all in differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and you got to do ones that fit together. It's a bit of an art form, actually, and I've been doing it all my life, so it's no big deal for me to do that.
What,
So we do half AC/DC because people love it, of course, and half Uriah Heep, Man from Man's Earth Band, The Firm, David Gilmour, everything, Gary Moore, all sorts of stuff.
I know there were so many bands that I wanted to talk about. We had such a limited amount of time but to do it. I mean, that has to be one of the most varied shows ever, going to see you live. I mean, where can you get Tom Jones, Asia, AC/DC, Manfred Mann, one after the other? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It's like the history of music in a 90-minute show.
It is, actually. We do 2 hours, by the way.
That's great.
We, and if we do any shorter, it feels like we are shortchanged ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
And people only complain after 2 hours when I say this is the last song. Then they're like, more. Yeah. This is after 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we try to give them what they want for as long as they want. As long as they keep saying more, we'll do more. You know?
And that's the most important thing. And you have more to give. But Chris, I'm going to let you go because we got about 2 minutes left, it says on the time, before they cut us off. And such a big
Okay.
fan of your drumming and of your music. And please keep doing this for as long as you can. I know we're all getting up there in age, all of us, but you look great. You sound great. And you're still giving us that music. Keep it up.
Okay, mate. Thank you very much
Thank
indeed
you,
for
Chris.
this interview.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And you. Bye-bye.
revenge is mine. To revenge is mine. Revenge is mine.
All right, brand new Chris Slade timeline, back with the vengeance. The singer in that band sort of reminds me of a cross between Udo Dirkschneider and Bobby Blitz from Overkill. Maybe that's just what I'm hearing. Maybe because I just played Overkill, I'm hearing that. But I hear a lot of Udo in there. It might just be me, but it's a pretty good record, so pick it up if you can. Fascinating, guys. So if you ever wondered why AC/DC's drums always sound the same in every song, it's because Angus and Malcolm wrote it that way, and the drummers just basically copied what they came up with. So there you go. All right, we're going to talk to Deborah Levine in about, what time is it? 20, almost 25. In about 15 minutes, I'll give her a call. We have to push the interview back a little bit, I should say, because she has something to do at 7:15. So we'll get her at about 7:45. We'll play a couple of more songs between now and then. It looks like the festival season is almost over. I think there's one or two more of the underground festivals left before the end of the summer. So let's start hedging our bets and taking a poll. Let's see who are going to be the headliners for the 2025 festival season. You know it's probably going to be Riot at least half of the festivals, or Riot 5, that cover band. They'll be on at least half of them. Warlord, because they only got on a few this year. You know, you got to have Warlord on there now because they just put a new record out, even though it doesn't really sound like Warlord to me. And who would the other one be? I guess it's going to be Crimson Glory, because they got back together. They already started hitting the festival circuit. So they'll probably want to headline most of the festivals next year. So far, you know, it's not looking pretty promising, I have to say. There are so many bands out there. I get it. You know, you always want to reunite some of those classic underground bands to your festival to say that you were the one that did it. And if you can make that happen with at least 2 or 3 of the original members, go for it and make it happen. I would love to see it. But there are so many other bands out there that are playing, that are active, that have been around since the 80s. Bands that came out in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, all these newer wave of traditional heavy metal bands out there. Get some of them on the bill. Stop repeating the same freaking bands with every festival. I mean, Christ almighty. I know if they're here in America and there's some in Germany, I get it, but it just is like every promoter just keeps, they watch what one does, I guess, and they all book the same bands after that. So many bands out there. Get some of them on there. I get it if you're here in the U.S., you know, throwing an underground festival, it gets kind of expensive and pricey, you know, to get people from Europe to come over here. I think, you know, Rage of Armageddon and Blades of Steel both had Darkness booked. They had to cancel it about a week ago or 2 weeks ago because I guess they couldn't get the visas to come and play. That's always a risk that you kind of run when you get a band from Europe these days, because it's just harder and harder to get into this country to play music. Unless you're an illegal immigrant, you can just like kind of cross over the border and down in Mexico. But if you come here in a band to play, make money, and, you know, generate revenue for this country, it's not as easy. It's a shame. All right, let's get on another set of songs, and then we will give Deborah a call right after that. The interview won't be as long as normally, because I don't want to stay on the air until 9 o'clock tonight. So I do kind of want to wrap it up a little quicker if I can. But how about we do some Max Havoc, Angel of Passion.
The first time I saw you,
right, that was Overlord with an E at the end. Back in the day, now the Overlord with just the D and the SR. Jeremy said it stands for Still Rockin'. The band said it stood for something else. Who the hell knows? But Overlord out of North Carolina. I enjoyed those guys. I liked them back then. That was off their first demo tape, like I just said. Before that, Crossfire with Burning Winter, Hyrax. We got to get new Hyrax. I know they just put an EP out, like a 4-song EP, but most Hyrax tunes are like 2 minutes long, so the whole EP is not even the length of a Yngwie Malmsteen guitar solo. So we need more music from Hyrax, a full-length record. Hopefully, Kate will give us that, next year. He's out. I think they're out in Europe right now. They're on tour in Europe, and when they get back, they got a couple of festivals to do. But I haven't had him on the show in a long time. I got to reach out to him, find out what's going on with the band. All right, let's play something from Lady Beast, and then I will get Deborah on the line. How about We Are the Witches? Man, how good a Lady Beast. Let's get her on the line right now. Let's dial her up.
Hello.
Deborah, this is Mike from the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show. You're on the air live. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a Sunday night. I'm talking to you. And up until 2009, I thought the best thing that came out of Pittsburgh was the Primanti Brothers. Then Lady Beast hit the scene.
Ah, well, that's an honor to be in the same category with such a legendary staple of Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that.
Well, listen, such a big fan of you guys. And I mean, back in 2000 and, in the late 2000s, 2010 area, metal was kind of like finding itself again. And then you guys come along and there's this whole new scene surrounding you. And I think you were one of the first bands to bring back that classic metal sound with the modern vibe to it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, you're totally right. There was really a lull in traditional heavy metal music around that time. I don't know what was going on, but it felt good to be playing music that was true to what we were into and playing music that, made us happy. And, it was quite a blessing for it to have blossomed into what it's become and still be going strong after all these years.
Yeah, it's hard to believe 15 years already. I mean, it feels like yesterday that I just picked up that first record, but it's 15 years. That's a long time in this business.
Dude, crazy. Yes. And you know what? We still practice every single Sunday.
Wow. That's
like
great.
Literally every week we get together. Because I think that's like kind of what I've always thought was kind of special about the band is that first and foremost, like we're friends and we really do enjoy spending time together. And, we're pretty adamant about every Sunday at noon, we get together for at least 2 to 3 hours and we practice.
That's fantastic. I hope that you've been practicing some new material because I need a new album.
Oh, well, funny you should mention so. We actually started recording a new album last weekend.
Nice. Oh, man.
Yes.
I can't wait. So I'm guessing next year probably.
It will be released next year, yes, on Dying Victims. Which is a label out of Germany that we signed a contract with this for this next couple run of albums, which will be really fun. They're super cool people and have a really fresh outlook on packaging and promotion. And so it's really exciting. But, so we got 9 juicy new songs that are, I think, some of our best ones yet. I'm really excited to finish it up and have everyone take a listen.
Oh, man, I can't wait. If you say the good, I know the good. And, Dying Victims, they also just re-released Lady Beast 2, the second record. I mean, they're giving you – it's nice to see these albums coming out again, giving everybody like a fresh take on it. And every couple of years, there's a whole new audience that comes into a band or into the scene, and they can't get some of the older records. So it's great that they get re-released like that.
And you're totally right. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to re-release that album so bad was because it's been out of print on vinyl for a handful of years. And also, like you said, it inspires you then, okay, so we're going to reprint this album. Why not jazz up the cover? Why not remaster the songs? Like, if we're doing this, let's give her, the whole shebang. And I think it turned out really great. So it ended up being a great first impression for a new fan or another great collectible to put in the Lady Beast archive,
Very true. And you know what it is? When you get a chance to kind of maybe touch things up a little bit, and it can go two ways. It can go George Lucas Star Wars ways where there's just a million changes to the original movies that they don't feel like the same movie anymore. But, when the first record came out, then the second record comes out, I mean, in that time and moment, you feel like everything was the way you wanted it to be, everything should be. But then as time goes on, like, wow, we should have did that and maybe should have did this. There's always that second guessing that comes along. But did you feel like there were things you wanted to tweak from those earlier records, 10, 12 years later?
Oh my God, I would actually love to re-record them all.
Really?
Only because I feel like I'm just such a I feel like I'm at my potential of my, my musicianship. So listening to those albums, I just hear this very young person, and I would just do the songs. I just feel like a lot differently with a lot more power. And I think, again, that just comes from being more mature now, being more seasoned, and being a bit more professional after all these years.
Sure, but can you actually look at it from the time and place that it was at? Like you said, you were younger back then. You didn't have the experience you have now 15 years on. So can you actually look at
Right.
it for what it was when it was, or do you kind of just focus on what it
Yes.
could have been?
Oh, no, no, no. I never live in the past. Like, I'm always like, wow, what an accomplishment, And I think they're all great albums. So I really don't have anything I would have changed. It, like you said, it was the time, it was the place, and it was what was created. So that was it. I do like to tell people so this will be our 7th album, and something that was very unintentional, but something that I kind of picked up on as a reoccurring theme is that I can kind of chronologically place moments in my life through our albums because of either things that I wrote about or, things that were happening in my life that were kind of like metaphorically spoken through in the music. So it's really been cool to just kind of have not only these albums musically, but also a timeline of significant moments of my life
Sure,
in the
it's like
band. Yeah,
it's like chapters of an autobiography almost.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And you've got some story to tell me. If you go back to the beginning of the band, I mean, how did it form? How did it come together? I mean, did you all have like a like-minded goal to what you wanted, or did it just happen when you got together and started writing?
Yeah. The original bass player and I were in a previous band, very short-lived, but that's where the song Lady Beast was written. And I liked that song so much that I looked at Greg and I said, Greg, we need to start another band. I want it to be like super heavy metal, and we need to name it Lady Beast, and we're going to keep this song. And he was like, okay. So I found a handful of people. We started writing, and then Lady Beast was formed. And then from there, I had already been, Adam and I had already been dating, and our drummer at the time couldn't do a show. So Adam was already in a band, and he's like, I'll fill in. And after he filled in, we realized, oh, wow, he's really good and fits the band awesome. So he never left. And then Adam knew our guitar player Twiz from childhood. So that's when we got a second guitar player. And I mean, the band it was all very natural. This is all music that we all listen to on a regular basis. This is music that we grew up listening to. And so, yeah, it's very natural process for us.
That's great. And, if you look at it, 15 years on, you've really had the bare minimum of lineup changes, which affects a lot of bands today. I mean, the three out of the 5 are still there. 3 out of the 4, then 5 are still there. And, the guys that were there for quite a lot of years before they were replaced by somebody else. And do you find it difficult to find members that can commit to being in a band?
I do because, we kind of do have we run a tight ship here. It's not like we're always off touring and this and that, but, we do expect a lot from, the musicians that are in the band. And so, like I said, we have a dedicated practice day. We rarely ever cancel. And if we do, we make it up during the week, even if we don't have any shows. We, always try to put personal things aside when it comes to, like, opportunities with the band as well. And I think we're all also on the same page, like, hey, we all work for a living. We, half of us don't get paid days off. So, we do what kind of touring we can do. But at the end of the day, the writing of the music and the playing it when we can is the most fun. So we continue on because of that. But yeah, I mean, I feel horrible for bands that can't keep it together because of member changes. It is really difficult. You have to teach a catalog of so many songs.
True. I mean, I also feel like, somehow with certain members of the band, it could change the sound of the band. Their guitar players have a distinctive sound, and either somebody's going to come in and emulate that, which they might not want to do because they want to put their own spin on things. Then it changes the dynamics of the band.
Sure. Yeah, I feel lucky that didn't really happen in our case.
No, absolutely, it didn't happen. I'm happy for that. You guys have kept it going, and that's why I'm so excited that there's a new record coming. I can't wait to hear what you guys are cooking up. I know it's going to be great. But on top of that, I mean, this is a tough business to be in. Everybody knows that. If this is your goal to make this your career, it's got to be the most difficult thing to be a part of. Then with COVID a few years ago, that kind of put everything in its place and stopped a lot of stuff from happening. And a lot of bands didn't survive that. I mean, you guys went through it. I mean, the Metal and Mortar Festival, the first year before COVID, then that got put on hold. A lot of stuff the band was doing. Does that kind of set you guys back to the point where you say, are we going to recover from this?
You know what? I feel like we were one of the few bands that actually didn't lose any momentum or steam during COVID. Luckily enough, me, Adam, and Andy, so that's vocals, lead guitar, and drums, all lived in one house when COVID hit. So we were playing music all the time because we just lived together. So we were our little safe zone, right? Right before COVID, our bass, and this is right when we were about to release the Vulture's Amulet. It was March of 2020. Our bass player, Greg, parted ways with the band. So we got Amy, and it was also perfect because that gave her, there were no shows for almost like a year and a half. So that gave her a whole year and a half to learn 30 of our songs.
Yeah.
So it was like awesome. And then we actually got the opportunity, since we weren't going to be able to have a album release show, we got the opportunity to do this really awesome live stream where we were able to play the whole album basically to like all of our fans all over the world. And so that also was really cool. So weirdly enough, we kind of thrived. We wrote an album. We released an EP in 2021. We really didn't let it stop us, actually.
No, you didn't. I'm happy for that. And I know there's no Metal and Mortar Festival this year. I mean, you kind of put it on hold. I mean, I look at all these festivals every year that are popping up, and there are some that have been long-running festivals like the Keep It True, and, other ones over in Europe and in Germany like that. And not every festival is put on by Live Nation or some big conglomerate where they just dole out the money, pay for everything, and then recoup it for, crazy prices. There's a lot of festivals that are done by people like you who, lay out the money out of their pocket, try to organize the things. This has got to be probably the biggest undertaking that you could ever imagine, even more than being in a band and writing music.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's a total financial risk. You never know who's going to show up, how many people, will the bands even make it? Traveling, as I'm sure you know these days, is so unpredictable. I mean, it's wild. I unfortunately have never broken even on the fest, but I had continued to do it because I just saw how much fun people were having there. And it felt really good to facilitate bands that I think are good people, role models, really flying like the true flag for heavy metal. And I felt good about facilitating that. And, this year I did take a year off. We ended up moving this year, a lot of big changes. So I kind of just had to take a moment for myself, which feels really good. I feel like I would be stressing out right now because Metal Immortal Fest would probably be next month and I'd be freaking out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of feels good to just take a step back. I got to go to Hell's Heroes this year just as a fan. Well, I did perform one song with Destructor. I can never not be doing something, but, it was cool to just fly to a festival and just be a person and not have a lot of responsibility,
Yeah, it has to be enjoyable when you can go as a fan and not as a performer or anything else. But when you talk about like just breaking even, I mean, to say I just want to break even, that's the goal. That's incredible because most people do take a loss, which is hard. But as a metalhead and as a fan, you just say, I don't care. I'm doing. And what I love is that you don't go with the typical bands for your festival. There's always the known bands that people know, like Midnight and Hyrax and stuff like that. But you also give other bands a chance to perform and play that maybe people haven't heard of yet, or they've got some. And you just mentioned that right before I started talking to you, and I love that because if you go to all the other festivals, you're going to get Ride 5 every year. You're going to get the
Right.
same bands over and over each festival, the same bands for the whole circuit, and it's year after year. You offer something different,
Yep.
which I think is fantastic. So, I mean, when you're sitting down, do you just say like, "Here's my playlist, and I want to get these bands on my bill this year," or how do you come up with the lineup?
Some of the bands that we've played with or that we've seen that's really impressed us that I feel like totally deserves that like couple hundred people platform. My husband Adam, the drummer of Lady Beast, he also has some really good ideas too. Like he's mainly more on he helps me a lot with a lot of like more like death metal and really cool like underground bands that I might not have heard of. I don't know if you've been listening to a band recently called Frozen Souls.
Yeah.
But we love them, and he turned me on to them, and I was just like, holy crap, dude, these guys are freaking awesome.
Yeah, death metal, but they're good.
Oh my God, so good. But yeah, I kind of just started keeping a little like log book throughout the year. And then I write down bands that, are like up and coming or that I see that are online working really hard or doing cool stuff. I'm an underdog. I've always been an underdog. I like sticking up for the underdog. Lady Beast has always been an underdog. And I appreciate that about certain people,
Sure. Was there any one band? I mean, you can't help cancellations; they happen sometimes. You guys have to do it sometimes. Other bands have to do it. It could be, like I said, because of travel arrangements, maybe visas if you're going to a different country. But was there any one band that you had booked and planned that you were looking so forward to, and the band themselves actually screwed you by backing out?
No, I actually never really had one of those.
You didn't book Age of Steel, I guess. That's probably why.
Yeah, no, I mean, I keep it pretty, I do like all the booking myself and try to keep it really, really within my means. But no, luckily I actually haven't had that ever happen.
That's a good thing because some bands, I know, I think you were supposed to play at the Blades of Steel. You guys had to back out of that, right?
Yes, I know. I'm so sad about that.
It happens. Things come up. You make these plans so far in advance that something pops up. You're like, can't do it. But you never want to do it, but it's unavoidable.
No, for sure. Yeah, it ended up being like actually like a work situation. We thought, me and Adam, we own our own cleaning business, and it's basically just us, and we thought we were able to get out of some work.
Yeah.
They were like, no. And, we have a lot of animal mouths in this house to feed. So my pigeon and my snake and my dog and my cat and my frog would be so sad if they didn't eat. So
that's always a priority. I had my own cleaning business too. Then my kids turned 18, they became emancipated, and they moved out, so I lost it. So I don't have it anymore. But
oh my God, I love that, dude. I love that.
But those are the things that happen. But you talk about Pittsburgh. I mean, how was the metal scene there when the band first started? Was it enough of a scene that was thriving to keep you guys busy? Because in the beginning, it's kind of hard to branch out. You got to start locally.
Totally, yeah. I would say we actually played a lot more with punk bands, at least in the underground circuit. But back in that time, I mean, there were a lot more national acts coming through. So we were unfortunately a lot of the time doing these pay-to-play gigs, right? Where they're like, hey, sell these tickets and we might give you some money.
Yeah.
But we might not. But it's never been about the money for us. So I think that's why we've also been able to continue doing this for so long, because we're not in it to make it our livelihood monetarily. We're not out here, doing this to quit our day jobs. We like our day jobs.
I hear you.
You know,
When you think about it, I mean, you're a band member and you're also a promoter. You have both hats you wear, so you kind of know how both ends of it go. But do you find today that most promoters, that are putting on shows for clubs and venues, that they don't want to do their job anymore? That they don't want to do the promoter. They want you guys to promote it. They want you to sell the tickets. They want you to buy onto the bill. That was a promoter's job. When I was growing up back in the 70s and 80s, that was a promoter's job to do that. The band just showed up. They gave out tickets to people, like, to get in for $2 off, and they saw how many people that band drew, so they can say, hey, next time that band drew like 50 people who bought all my liquor and spent money in my club. That's what they wanted back then. Today, it's completely different today.
right, totally. So basically, if you do not live in a city that you're trying to play in, a lot of times you can't even book a show there because clubs don't promote shows anymore. It's small promoters like me, like a lot of people in the underground, that take on the responsibility of getting out there and making a flyer, hanging them up, passing them out at shows. I mean, that's really the only way the underground survives, is this literally old school network of promoting, because clubs and bars don't do it. I mean, maybe they'll post something on their Instagram nowadays, but I mean, that's hopeful. It's literally always up to the band or the promoter. So, like, let's say you live in Ohio and you're trying to play a show in Pittsburgh. You really need someone from Pittsburgh to kind of step up and help you and navigate that road for you. Because a lot of bars won't take out-of-town bands, Because unless you have a fan base, like, how are the people going to come? I get, like, their concern,
Yeah, but you guys do have a name for yourselves, and people do know you all over this country,
Oh,
all over
yeah.
the world. So that's definitely a good thing and a helping thing, to help the band out to move along. But I mean, you also have the internet today. But do you think the internet is more of a hindrance than it's a helpful tool to use?
At this point, I mean, I kind of do, only because I feel like, as someone in a band, I feel like pressured to have to, like, be on the internet, like, a good bit, it feels weird. It feels like kind of like against my will a little bit. I'm like an outside person. I just want to be like in the dirt and I like, even right now I'm like mixing resin and I'm making art while I'm talking to you. And but to think of like, like if I don't create content online, we basically disappear from the internet.
It's true. It's a double-edged sword. You got to give them something.
It's a
or they forget
double-edged
about
sword. Yeah, no, I know. Like, I love being in contact with it all, but you're almost forced to do it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting,
Yeah, it's like being forced into a conversation at the dentist office when they're trying to talk to you about working on your teeth.
Exactly. You're like, You're like, can't we talk about this afterwards, please?
Oh God, it's crazy stuff. But Dad, I'm going to let you go in a few minutes because we got to start it late tonight, and the show's almost over. And I want to play some more music by the band before I do. But what do you have coming up in the immediate future? I think you got a couple of shows with Iron Flame. I mean, I love those guys. Andrew's got such a band going there.
Oh yeah, and he's such a great guy. He's actually mastered a couple of our albums.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, first of all, and I don't want to forget, but I just really wanted to thank you for taking the time not only just to talk to me and be excited about, the things we're doing, but just thank you for all the kind words that you've used through this interview about me and the band, and because it really does mean a lot to us, and it's a really important part of my life. So just the fact that people are into it still really fills my heart with joy and so much excitement. So thank you, first of all. But what are we doing? We have a show with Iron Flame and Adamantis, not this week, but next week at a really great all-ages DIY venue that our friends own as a collective, which is so great. And And then we have a show Labor Day weekend with some New York rockers called Sanhedrin. I'm sure you're familiar with them.
I love them. They've been on the show before. I love those guys.
Oh, I love them. Erica is seriously my heart.
She's
She
funny.
She's a dear friend of mine. We talk every week, and I freaking love her. So they're going to come to Pittsburgh, and we'll play with them. And then, just kind of wrapping up the album. I mean, the artwork's been done for a couple months. I'm so excited to release it. It looks so good. And, just finishing up the album, and we'll probably start writing a new one.
Well, that's always a good thing. Listen, like I said, such a big fan. Keep giving us this music. We love it. And try to make your way to the New York area. I mean, I don't mind going to Pittsburgh because I know I'm going to have a pimento sandwich with those french fries stuffed into it. But, yeah, I like for you to come to New York and play a show. It'd be great.
That'd be amazing. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you. We're going to make that happen. Take care, Deb. It was good talking to you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we ran late tonight, but let's get on one more song from Lady Beast. Here you go, Metal Martyr. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday night.